We just sort of started up when we were trying to help out my friend's band, Wolves at Heart. He'd always sent me his music because we worked together, and they recorded an EP. I just thought it was absolutely fantastic, and it deserved sort of more backing than it would get if they just did it themselves.
I'm Keir O'Donnell, and I play guitar in Wolves at Heart. We're like a pop punk band, like sort of like old school sort of Newfound Glory and Yellowcard, kind of upbeat like punk rock music. Like there's not really too many of that in Glasgow, so that's like the music we grew up on, and so you know we maybe kind of stick out in the Glasgow scene, but it's like we wouldn't be playing anything else. StruggleTown, I mean StruggleTown is like it's a pretty like collaborative effort. Stephen Hill is the main guy involved. He's numero uno. But StruggleTown came about as a means to put out our EP in a few years ago called Write It Down. Stephen was really keen to put it out. StruggleTown kind of started from there.
I decided to put a few £100 into it. We released it as a CD, so it was a sort of, I don't know, we just started it to see if it would work, and then it sort of ball started rolling. We started putting out more stuff, and then when we started the monthly sort of free live showcases at Block, it really took off. People got a lot more interested in it, and we've released bands from all over.
And from that, I mean, we all help out. You know, everyone involved with StruggleTown. You know, we help put on gigs, and we did a zine for a while. You know, keep the distro going, sell CDs and releases from bands over in the States and bands in Canada and bands from Europe and England. Really just spread the word about bands that we think are cool.
There's a really good music scene in Glasgow. It's sort of vibrant, diverse, I think, but it's pretty focused on like indie rock. I think it gets covered mostly, and a lot of the more mainstream stuff. The sort of punk and hardcore scene, it's been about for a while, but it's all very metalcore orientated. So when we started StruggleTown, we wanted to represent a whole bunch of different kinds of bands, like from pop punk, hardcore punk, indie, emo, all that kind of thing. So I think through the monthly showcases, we sort of put on different kinds of bands, tried to bring bands together and create more of a community feel.
There are literally like a few bands that that we would traditionally like fit on a bill with, but Glasgow's pretty varied as far as like hardcore bands and post-hardcore bands and metal bands and all that sort of thing. But it's gotten a lot better. Like a few years back, it used to be pretty rocky. Like bands would come and like no one would show up, and touring bands would tell other touring bands like Glasgow's not worth playing. But I think it's definitely got better the last years, and like I think StruggleTown and a mixture of us all kind of putting on our own shows and kind of picking up the slack ourselves has kind of made a difference there.
I think Glasgow's music scene overall is pretty strong though. I think we've had a lot of great bands come through, and I think people are always keen to go out to gigs and see live music in Glasgow. Maybe we're a bit spoiled for choice overall. I'd say that's probably the biggest problem, is that there's so many people doing good stuff that it's quite hard to pick.
I mean, StruggleTown wise, things are going really well. We started putting out proper vinyl releases, building up from just doing like tape and digital releases. People seem to be responding to it well, so if we can just keep everything going and keep putting out some cool releases, we'll be pretty happy.
I don't really see it as being all to do with just being a label, and the fact that they put gigs on and stuff like that's maybe almost more important to me, because they do put on a lot of local bands, and there is a bit of a scene there, and they get a lot of bands coming across who maybe might not visit Glasgow otherwise.
And we've released records for loads of bands that aren't actually on the label, and it's just a sort of like distribution deal or smaller things. We're sort of branching out at the moment, picking up. We don't really sign people per se, we sort of put people out, try and help them out, and if they go on to bigger things, then that's great. That's kind of the idea. It's a sort of stepping stone, hopefully to bigger things, or if you want to stay on the label, then that's absolutely fine.
I feel like there's bands and scenes are maybe coming together where they didn't used to before. There was maybe a lot of kind of segregation of like bands and genres, and you're this type of band and you'll only ever play this venue and stuff like that. I think there's a lot of that that's like falling away. People are just people are responding to good music and they're going to shows again. they're not getting too hung up on the genre or the what the hell the band's wearing and really irrelevant stuff. It's kind of coming back to the music, and people are coming out to shows, and there's lots of really cool like mixed bills happening with bands who otherwise wouldn't play together.
I'm Fletch from the Sinking Field. We've always been described as 90s emo, like mixed with grunge. We've worked with StruggleTown since we were first band, and we've put out a tape with them, and we're looking to put out a 7-inch in the next few months.
It's fun. I've met a lot of great people through it. The shows are fantastic. It just gives you a real buzz. When you see people buying records of bands that maybe wouldn't have had the chance to put them out, that's awesome. You get a bunch of orders in, you get a feeling like you're actually doing something. So I think the biggest thing is connecting with people. Like, we've connected with people from all over the world who are sort of like-minded, and people that I respect, people that I'm a big fan of their music, that are coming to us and saying, "Oh, we really like what you're doing."
They're a positive influence on younger bands and just people in general, putting on shows every month and trying to have a good ethic with bands and just the way they run their label.
I think as long as there are bands that are coming through that are willing to stop in Glasgow, American bands and European touring bands, I think Glasgow will be strong. It's the best it's been for a long time.
I love Glasgow. It's a good, if you like music, you're going to find loads of bands you really like in Glasgow, because there's so many different bands, so many different types of bands out there.
No Island, they were just keen for everybody to hear it, so we put it out for free download. I think most bands on a smaller level are really up for the free download thing, because they want as many people to get it as possible.
We just came back from an 8 or 9 day tour there. It went really well, so I'm really keen to get back out there again. We've started writing a new album, or an album I should say, which is probably going to be the focus for the rest of the year. But yeah, I don't know, we've kind of taken our foot off the gas, I think, a wee bit at the start of this year, but that was a bit of a conscious thing, because we were just playing every gig that came along, and it's good for a while to do that, to get yourself out there, but I get fucking sick of bands, I get sick of us, so yeah, maybe the last half of the year we'll need to start thinking about getting up and going again properly.
We're doing a split release for Shook Ones and Death Is Not Glamorous, with an American label based in Boston called Run for Cover, who are probably the most famous sort of label at the moment for this kind of thing we do. So that'll be a big, that'll draw a lot of attention to us as a label, and then we've got other things coming out. I don't know, it's sort of rolling along as it goes. It doesn't really have a sort of 5-year plan or anything like that.